So here we are in 2014, and HR organizations are in a very interesting place where we have multinational corporations that are living through what we like to call certain uncertainty, where we are going through tighter economic cycles, steeper climbs, deeper troughs, and things are moving very quickly. And it's hard to really just assume anything really in this kind of environment, which has put a new burden or opportunity, as I like to think of it, on the HR executive's desk. Really, when you think about it, the problem comes down to needing to simplify for agility. So I have conversations with a number of HR organizations that say, well, what does the future hold for HR? What are the kinds of things that should be in our toolbox? How should we be looking at things differently? Because it's clear that in some cases, they aren't really aligning from a workforce perspective to the business strategy. So at a time when organizations are saying, hey, things are uncertain, of course they're going to try to get their organizations as simplified as possible so they can be agile to navigate quite a lot of storms, but also navigate the calm waters as well. So when we think about how does HR remain effective and relevant, a couple of things. One is understanding how the workforce implications of the business strategy as it's been set out and over the long term. And then it's also a mindset shift. For so long, as you looked at the HR discipline, it was kind of, the very standard, very comfortable. Now what we're seeing is HR has to become, for one, supply-demand experts. They have to understand their internal supply and whether or not it aligns with what the business is trying to achieve, and if it doesn't, how will they close the gaps, as well as an external supply expert. So when an organization is saying, hey, we're going to move from a lot of bricks and mortar footprint to, hey, we're actually going to have a lot in virtual, how are they going to optimize that structure? Or when they're going to move to shared service centers or centers of excellence, how will they make decisions about how to optimize that footprint? These are new challenges for HR. Though they have encountered those in some shape or form before, now they are expected to be the de facto expert and advisor on how to optimize that footprint, how to do the capacity planning, how to drive the strategic workforce plan, how to think about the geographic footprint differently. And very importantly, as many organizations are facing pretty severe demographic headwinds, to say, how are we going to ensure that we have the supply of rightly skilled talent to do what it is we need to do? So they have to be experts in supply and demand. They also have to be a little bit of a marketer. So if you think about the fact that we're in this human age where access to talent is really everything, you have to figure out how to unleash the human potential of your organization. It stands to reason you have to attract the best and you have to keep the best. So that requires HR to really think differently because, again, we've moved from this one-size-fits-all mentality to different generations coming in, which has changed the equation to really, your value proposition has to fit me. So you have to do a couple of things here really well, I think. One is you want to attract people that will be attracted to you. You don't want to make promises that you can't keep. So you need to figure out where your strengths are and market those. And when you have people in the door, you can't stop the marketing. You have to have those one-size-fits-one career paths and development paths and discussions. And you have to, as an HR leader, empower your organization to do that and expect business leaders and mid-level managers to have that conversation and hold them accountable. Otherwise, that talent will exit. The third thing is you have to be a really good designer. So thinking about, well, how should the work be structured going forward? If we are experiencing, for instance, a transformation, and we're moving from this to this, that has some significant implications for not only the talent that I need, but how that work will actually be structured. Are we going to be doing things a little bit differently? Do we have the right organizational design? The other place that you have to design is your talent sources. because it probably isn't going to look like it's looked for a long time, where you had roughly 80% permanent and 20% on some sort of contract arrangement. Now, with talent being so scarce, HR has to think very cleverly about the other talent pools: project-based work, partially retired workers, fully outsourced, contingency, and permanent, and many, many other models, crowdsourced models even. I'm seeing a lot of my clients start to explore all of those because the work has to get done. But that requires really intelligent design of not just the organizational structure, but the talent sources, and making sure you have the proportions right for what you're trying to do. So another way of thinking about proportions is mix. Do I have the right mix of contingent and permanent and outsource and project? And how long will that fit me for? And weaving that into the strategic workforce plan. And then last of all, you have to be able to design really good people practices. So thinking about how people will be engaged and motivated and incented to do the work that you have for them. So it's a really, really challenging time right now, but I think it offers up an opportunity like never before for HR to be one of the most strategic assets in the organization.